Morning.
Yeah, you gotta have fun. Got a little man in the front with these awesome Vans on. He's more hyped than y'all are. Okay? So, me and Marvin, we're glad to be here. Who was at the show last night? Almost everybody. What happened? You get an F. Who else wasn't here? No, man. Who else didn't make it? So everybody didn't make it? So, tell these guys how we did okay. You know what I mean? We had fun, man. We displayed worship through our instruments, through singing. We brought up people that did not realize they were going to sing. We brought up people that didn't know they were going to play. Different times, different songs. But the fun of it was having sporadic worship. They were probably scared to death, so today we're here from them what their true experience was yesterday. A lot of times, we try to prepare everything we do before we play. Is that right? Okay. And in some instances, that's a good tool to have. But as I was telling them yesterday, the more skillful you are on your instrument, your voice, whatever it is that you do, it could be tech, setting up, engineering, no matter what it is. Why is there only one school here? You were over there talking. You see it? And the students took care of me.
Oh,
no,
so y'all decided with him already?
They did. I got myself.
Oh, there's going to be a problem in here.
Marvin don't usually use the stool because he jumps around so much, as y'all noticed last night. So he probably will not use that stool. He just likes to complain. But being prepared for God to call on you when you least expect it. Now, I didn't say I was God last night calling on people. But when we get in the flow of things, God will put things in our hearts to do and to try and to experiment with, because he knows he can trust us with that gift and the anointing. So today we'll discuss a lot of things. We'll ask a lot of questions because we want to hear from you all. We don't want to be here just telling you a bunch of information that really may not help you as much as what we hear from you, so that we can have dialogue. Because everybody has kind of a different situation of things they may need in this journey of music and worship music and being ministers of God through our instruments and voices. So as we talk throughout the day, it'll just kind of shine light on some of the areas. And believe it or not, we're all kind of dealing with the same things, but it's just different situations at different times, different churches, but pretty much the same stuff. So, as Marvin is setting up, he should have been ready. He likes to talk, and he likes to make noise. Y'all heard that last night? That's so unprofessional, Marvin.
I just want people to know I'm here.
Yeah. So while he's getting set up, I love to ask some questions, see where we are, so it kind of gives us a balance of what we're discussing and things we're talking about. I know we have a mixture of singers, guitar players, gymnasts, and what else?
Spoon players.
Bass players, drummers. So at this point, I really don't want to know what you guys do. It doesn't matter, because in the whole big scheme of things, if you don't understand your purpose of why you're here before you even grab your instrument or hold the mic in your hand, then you will never be the best at what you're doing. Does that make sense? Okay. So I do like I do all my students, whether they're young or old. I like to know where you're from. She's looking like, come on with it. Believe it or not, where you're from really speaks a lot about your character, what you offer, what you can do, what you can't do. Sometimes if you, per se, are from LA, a lot of times you have that movie star vibe, that whole big celebrity thing. If you are from Kentucky, you might have that bluegrass thing down. So regions really, they help you kind of create and mold the type of musician you are. All right, so what side you want to start on? You want to start with the guys that weren't here last night? Do y'all know them? Okay, yeah, we're gonna get on that. Okay, where you from, man?
I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. All right.
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids. Do y'all know where most people are from? Not really. Y'all go to school together and don't know each other. All right, you go. Cameraman.
I'm from Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus.
Pennsylvania.
Virginia,
Virginia. What part of Virginia? What part of Virginia?
Charlottesville area.
Oh, yeah.
Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah. See right there, when he said Detroit, the first thing I thought about was what?
Eminem.
Who?
Eminem.
No. What else?
Embezzlement.
Huh? Embezzlement. Yeah. Somebody getting shot or something. What else you think about when you think of Detroit?
Motown.
Motown. You know. So we expect him to have a lot of what? Soul. Who's that?
Carthage, Missouri.
Missouri.
Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay.
Cedarville, Ohio.
Cedarville, Ohio. Fairfax, you get a lot of tickets going through. Yeah. I hate that area. Okay.
Cedarville, Ohio. Chile, South America.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Come on, just take 1 minute and just speak some Spanish for me.
You speak Spanish?
It don't matter. Wow. Go ahead.
Are you really want me to? Yeah! Give me something to say. I can't just.
Anything, we don't know what he's saying anyway.
Everything you're saying there, you
Say
could have
a
been
prayer.
saying in Spanish.
Say a prayer.
Prayer?
Sure.
Wait, pray in Spanish?
Yeah.
Just.
Everybody bow your heads. Go ahead.
Pray. Pray. Señor, gracias por día. Es esta reunión. Bendición, Señor, y que aprendamos mucho. En tu nombre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
He speaks Spanish,
Man,
he's a
that's
musician,
awesome, dude.
and he got great hair.
I want to ask you what you play, but I don't want to know right now. I don't want to find out, though. We'll figure it out. But
Indiana.
Indiana.
From Xenia, Ohio.
See?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Newport News, Virginia.
That's a lot of Virginia here. Okay. Let's start from the back. Then we'll go to
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Peoples, Ohio. Milford, Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan.
Uh-huh. You know about the embezzlement and all that.
Western New York, near Buffalo.
Okay.
Des Moines, Iowa.
New Hampshire. Western Ohio.
Danville, Kentucky.
Okay. Bluegrass.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Maryland.
Okay.
Indianapolis.
My dad's in the Army, so currently Germany.
Oh, wow.
Saginaw, Michigan.
Bloomington, Illinois.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Bloomington, Illinois. I got to talk to you. That's close to Peoria.
Yeah.
I might be moving there, so I need some help. Already.
New Hampshire.
Lexington, Kentucky.
So when I said bluegrass, you laughed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carthage, Missouri.
Uh-huh.
Beaver Creek, Ohio.
Okay.
Springfield, Ohio.
Awesome.
Are there really beavers in Beaver Creek?
So, I mean, how many of you feel like where you're from helps or does not have anything to do with how you approach your gift? Huh? Yes, no? Doesn't have anything to do with it? Yeah.
I'm from a pretty small town, kind of like a vacation-y, touristy town in the summer, and then no one's there. We only have one traffic light, and it's yellow, and it blinks, so
Wow.
it shouldn't even count. But, like, the pressure a lot of musicians face is, like, wanting to be somebody and be famous.
Mhm.
But when you're in a small town like that, it doesn't matter what you do, you're famous. Like, people see you, and they know who you are, so, like, not having that pressure kind of gives me a lot of freedom to just do my own thing without trying to please everyone around me.
Yeah. So a lot of cases, there wasn't a standard and you had the ability to make the standard. That's awesome. What else? Any other things that may help or not help where you're from?
It depends on the players and teachers in your area, like who you can learn from.
There's a lot of what's around you. What can you pull from? What can you aspire from or learn from? Before you can teach somebody else, somebody has to teach you, you have to learn. So that has a great deal of help, yeah.
Yeah, when I was in Detroit, like the school I went to was very diverse. Like I think white people were probably the minority there, and that actually influenced me a lot because it kind of broadened my horizons on how not just I thought about music, but about a lot of things. And it made it so I was able to approach a lot of different things more openly, like not, you know, like I didn't get weirded out by something that was different because I was used to it. Like it was around all the time.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else? Man, y'all gotta feel free to talk. We got about 3 or 4 hours together, so. Ain't like, oh man, I can't stay that long. But to be honest, that's a stereotype that really has nothing to do with your ability of playing, your ability of singing, songwriting, or anything. There's a good friend of mine that I've toured with Europe and Australia and stuff. He is one of the most amazing guitar players I have ever played with. At 16, he won Australia's Got Talent. Plays acoustic guitar. He sings a little bit, but his main thing is guitar. So, have anybody ever heard of Phil Emanuel? Not Phil, but Tommy Emanuel?
Oh yeah.
Heard of Tommy? Is he amazing? Okay, this kid grew up and lives, parents still live in the bushes. Okay? They have a farm, they do their own crop, they have their own pretty much water system from the rain that they save and all that type of stuff. So here's this kid out in the middle of nowhere that is one of the amazing, you gotta write his name down. His name is Joe Robinson. Okay? Yeah, write his name down. Joe Robinson, let's put it in your phone. But out of not having, pretty much, really not having a lot of electricity or anything, he literally learned how to play from watching YouTube. He, in the morning, would pull up Tommy Emanuel's video, and it would literally have to load all day before he can actually push play and continuously watch this video so he can learn without stopping. Okay? So where you're from has nothing to do with where God wants to take you. Okay? Whether you got one street light or you're from a big city of Detroit. Just because he's from Detroit doesn't mean that he's going to be the next Barry Gordy or anything Motown. It has nothing to do with it. So God's purpose on your life is great, and you have to find a point in your life where you're starting to follow and understand and ask Him for wisdom. God, what do you want to have, you know, with my gift and my talents? What do I do? So this kid learns how to play. He plays the bass, the chords, the melody line, all by himself. Everything just on this guitar. And when I tell you that you have never heard a guitar player like this, it blows my mind. So when I'm playing bass with him, I literally have to warm up my fingers and practice just to keep up with it, because it's challenging. Okay? Now, I grew up in North Carolina, and no, y'all not from North Carolina. Nobody said Raleigh or anything like that. So we didn't have a lot of music, but there was a style of music that I grew up with, which was called quartet music, Southern gospel.
Amen.
All right. Where you from?
Texas.
Texas.
I did live in North Carolina very briefly.
Did you? Yeah. So it did not lend itself to, you know, the guitar that had distortion. Didn't do a lot of that. We didn't have any jazz chords or anything like that. So it was real strictly bass, drums, guitar, and it was kind of like bluegrass. but it was bluegrass mixed with Southern gospel. So that's what I grew up listening to, playing, and all that stuff. So in that area, I didn't have the ability to reach to really learn about Motown and other things because my parents were real strict about what we listened to. So here I am having to always listen to this Southern gospel stuff. So the older I got, the more I ventured out, and my brother would introduce me to jazz and things. So the best thing that I had learned from as a kid, regardless of where I was from or who was around me, was the radio. And just the variety of things that you are exposed to, whether good or bad, you have to really be discerning on what to listen to or not to. But those things kind of gave me a musical diet of what I was looking for. Sometimes I didn't even realize that I was going in a direction, but I was picking up music and things that kind of came out in the concert last night that did not come from Southern gospel. So don't think that just because you're from a small town with one flashing stoplight or no stoplight at all, that God won't use you and make you the next Chris Tomlin or the next guitar player for Skillet or the next whatever. So there are no limits of what God can do in your life, and it has nothing to do with where you're from, okay? But the ability of consuming new things and learning from new people and like joining with us last night and kind of watching what we do, those things give you an inspiration to say, okay, I need to go home and either practice, I need to go up and talk to these guys one-on-one, I need to see what they did, what are their stories, how did you get here? So that's why we're here today, to let you know that it is a process. It is a journey. And there'll be some times you don't feel like playing your instrument, you don't feel like singing. But those are the times when you really press in and stay consistent with it, because God wants to work out some things in you when you really don't want to be bothered with Him or your instrument. Anybody ever have those times and moments? Yeah, I mean, you got to be real. So the more you realize why you're here, the easier it will be to operate in your gift. All right? Welcome, Marvin. I'm up here sweating.
I think the great thing about what we get to do is that you get the best of both worlds. With Bernard being a music director for one of the top Christian artists in the industry right now, who's played with just about everybody in the industry. And myself, I come from somewhat of a little bit of a different background because I've been immersed in church ministry most of my, I don't even know if this is a word, Mom, salvific life. Since 1996, when I gave my life to the Lord, I was thrust right into full-time ministry. So I've been on staff at the church, I've been working, serving, and all those kind of things in so many different capacities. And so many of you are getting ready to walk into that position of being a worship pastor or worship leader or administrator and things of that nature. And so today, we're going to give you the good, bad, and the ugly. Most folks think, well, you know, I can be a worship pastor at the, what's the biggest church in the area here? What's the biggest church? Y'all don't know? Fairhaven? Well, one of the largest churches in the area. You know, they got an opening at Fairhaven. And so I'm going to put in my application. I graduate on May 16th, and so May 17th, they're going to hire me, and I'm going to be on staff there. They're going to pay me $80,000 a year. I'll work 2 Sundays, then I'll be on the road with Michael W. Smith, and y'all will see me on TV. That's what most people think. Or I'll do like 7 Hillsong CDs, and they'll be my best friend. And 9 times out of 10, you'll never see Hillsong unless you're sitting up in the stand paying $35. But most of us don't think that. We think, well, you know, I'm musically inclined. My mom said I can play. I got a piece of paper that says I can do it. All right, hire me because I'm the best person for the job. And then you walk into a church facility and you have to deal with people like you, other musicians. And so there's a conflict that happens with you. And many young worship leaders who probably could have been great decide this is not for me, and they say, you know what, I'm just going to do the band thing. And then the church suffers. Not that doing the band thing is not great, because that's what we do. But many of the guys that are in the band is because they went into that position too early, not knowing what to expect, and ran into too many roadblocks. They decided, this ain't what I want. Let me just go on the road, get some of my boys and we'll go on the road. And then they realized the road is even harder. So there's some things that we want to share with you today, whether you're a freshman or a senior, that hopefully will help you in developing your skill as a musician, as an instrumentalist, as a person, as a believer. All right? Because what we do here is only an extension of what we do when we don't have this instrument in our hand. The way we jump around and smile and carry on, that's what we do in a hotel. That's what we do in a room. He got lucky that I woke up late, because normally I'll go in there and I'll wake him up. And bam, it's a hard elbow right there, just like that. But I woke up late today and I said, we woke up. He was sitting there on the computer. Oh, I thought you were already ready, dude. You know, so, but that's an extension of who we are and what we do, what happens on the stage here. I'm going to tell you this is probably one of the most important things. I want everybody to write this down, get your pencil, get your pen, take a picture of it, or whatever it is. Music is only 5%. Preparation is 95%. Let me say it again. Your music, your stage is only 5%. But the preparation to get to that stage is 95%. So if you're only putting in 40% in your preparation, when you get on stage, it will show that you put in 40%. Now, quick question. Do you think we put in 95% from what you saw last night? She's like, I don't know. I think you did about 30. Seriously, what we shared with you last time, do you think we put in 95%? You can go ahead and tell us. You're not going to hurt our feelings.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What about you? He's like, nah, I think about 48.
I think so.
I put in 150. I was sweating.
Literally, we work hard at what we do, and this is what we do for a living. This is how we provide for our family. This is the gift that God has given us, and we take accountability for that. We work hard at what we do. So when we stand before you, we can give you everything that God has poured into us to give back to you. So if you're not willing to go in these practice rooms and put in 2 or 3 hours, if you're not willing to say, okay, you know what, I can't go to the game with you guys tonight because I got to work on my etudes and my scales. Well, I can't go tonight. I got to do my choral arranging and my composition and all those kind of things. And then you wait till the last minute to cram that in, and you wonder why you get a C- or a D. It's like, but I did a great job. Yeah, but if you had really taken the time to do it, you probably could have got a B+ or A. If you're not willing to do that, don't waste the people's time stepping in front of them. If you're not willing to do that, don't waste the people's time stepping in front of them. Because you don't want your doctor to only give you 13%. Doctor, can you help me? Oh, no, I stayed at a Holiday Inn. I ain't worried about those medicine stuff. Here, take a couple of these. Take a couple of these codeine. I just got a cold. Oh, yeah, just take 5 of these. You can go to sleep, right? And you're not going to wake up. That's because he only took 13%. He went to a couple of doctor classes. He went to a couple of medical classes. But some of them, I didn't want to go today because the Colts are playing the Titans. And I'm from Indianapolis, and so I can go watch them play. Instead of studying for that exam. It makes a world of difference, guys. It makes a world of difference. So who's ready to go out in the world and be a worship leader now? Who's ready? I didn't crush your dreams, did I? Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so now we're gonna ask you some personal questions now. All right. And this is the biggest question. And some of the guys at the band was with us last night. Raise your hand. Guys were with us last night. Stand. Can you just stand? We just want to acknowledge you guys. guest, Michael Gunga was with us last night as a guest. Y'all know who Michael Gunga is? I love him and Lisa, man. They're great folks. But every time I see him, I think, and once he puts these glasses on, it's a total picture. Okay, so we're going to ask you this question. Before I point to you and you answer, I want you to really think about this. So we're going to give you like a 10, 13-second clock. What is it that you want to do, and why are you here? What is it that you want to do, and why are you here? Because in answering those two questions, it will definitely direct you in whatever else that you're going to do. What is it that you want, and why are you here? Fairfax, Virginia. What is it that you want?
I want to let everything that I do just bring honor and glory to the Lord. And I'm not a worship major, but I absolutely love worship. And if it's through worshiping, just volunteering at a church, that's one thing. And I play bass as well. I missed last night because I was practicing.
You were in here last night,
Yeah.
working on a Kurt Carr song.
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah.
What's the name of that song?
Let everything that has breath.
Let everything else shine.
Oh, okay.
But I love bass and I love playing, so.
So, why are you here?
I wasn't sure what to expect.
No, why don't you rephrase it? Why are you here at Cedarville?
Oh, it's Cedarville. Okay. I'm here at Cedarville to deepen my faith and understanding of Christ.
That's legitimate. Pittsburgh. Why are you here?
Which one?
The person that said which one?
Alright.
He's like, no.
I just want to be able to help myself and others connect with God in whatever form of worship that they connect to God with most. And I'm here at Cedarville just because I know that this place has a true foundation on Christ, and it will help guide me to guide others into meaningful and true worship.
Okay, Maryland. What part of Maryland?
Salisbury?
Salisbury, Maryland. Yeah. You know what? You know what that's close to? That's close to Delaware. All right. Salisbury, Maryland is right there. I used to go to Salisbury, Maryland. I was born in Delaware.
Okay.
I was born in there. So my uncle lived in Salisbury. I used to go there all the time, and that's near Ocean City.
Yes.
Yeah, the boardwalk is a official spot. Bam! I'm loving on you right now. Salisbury, I rarely meet anybody from Salisbury, Maryland.
Yeah, it's rather
It's
small.
like right in there, it's like that.
Yeah.
Did y'all get that? I know that.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, all right. Second two questions.
Okay, I want to use the gifts that God has given me to effectively communicate the joy I found in Christ and to lead others in worship. I am here because while I know that Cedarville is like a great school academically, it also provides like a basis of faith and discipleship, and that's something I really seek in school.
That's your spokesperson right there. She had that written down.
That's right. I was looking at it. Was she reading that on the card?
But I see right now, that's the 95% though. That's the preparation. You already know, you already been thinking before you even got here, why I'm coming, what I need to get out of it. In your delivery, you didn't waste any time. God.
Arkansas. Somebody was from Arkansas. Oh, was somebody else in here that said they were from Arkansas, right?
That was when
They're
we
not climbing.
That's when we were eating ice cream last night.
It was, what was it? Okay, all right, I'm trying to think of the states. Missouri, that's what it was. There it is right there. I knew Missouri was right there. Two Missouris, all right?
Yeah.
You go first and then you go second. Hold on. Oh, okay. I'm like looking, I'm like, wow. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, go ahead. Yeah. That's his brother.
That's, oh.
Facebook.
Oh. So you the clay version of Duck Dynasty. Okay. I got you. I ain't seen it. Yeah. Wow. He sounded, yeah. I can't go over here. What is it? Okay, cool.
I'm here because I want to do and pursue whatever God has for me, and I'm at Cedarville because I solely know for the only reason because it's where God has put me, and I don't know if I'll leave it, but I'm here.
And I take it that you're the older brother, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. What's your classification?
I'm a worship leader, or what do you mean by that?
Freshman.
I was talking,
Freshman.
you were
Junior. Okay. All right. Okay. Now you know your brother's in here now,
yeah,
so you have to impress him with your answer.
I'm on the church.
Yeah.
I would say that my goal is, I guess, to worship through the leading of the church in worship, and also like the creating music that glorifies Him. And I think the reason I'm here is because at Cedarville is a place where I can develop those talents and those abilities and learn new things and do some better at what I do.
Okay. All right. All right. New York Giants. I'm a Cowboys fan, so y'all having a great season in my eyes. All right. Tell me. Come on.
What are the two questions again? Which am I seeing?
What do you want to do, and why are you here?
I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. My dad's a worship pastor, and choir has always been an integral part of church, and so I really like choir. I've come here and seen different examples of that through Jubilate, and then New Life Worship last year, and just kind of introduced to this idea of the worship leading choir, and that's really what I want to go to a church, and I want a worship leading choir. And I am here because God has brought me here to prepare me for whatever He's going to do with me.
Yeah, that's very cool. I probably literally in the last month and a half, I've probably had about 3 offers to go on staff with a church that has a choir arranging and all those other kind of things. There's a demand for you, a huge demand for you, because a lot of the churches have always had a choir, but because everything has gone to a somewhat of a small ensemble praise and worship type contemporary sound, a lot of churches are struggling to keep their membership because they have a big choir and things of that nature. And so they're trying to figure out how can we manage this and cope with this and deal with that and all those kinds of things. So what you are learning here, what you are getting, will be a great tool for you when you leave on May the 16th, whatever year that is, or May the 17th, to be able to walk into someone's church and help them bridge that gap to take them where God wants to go. That's very important. Literally. Wow. That's cool. How many other folks are in here for the same type thing? Anybody else? Look at that, man. You're just like, boom, it's just you. It's your job. Let me ask you this. Is that fearful for you, or is that exciting to you? That out of the room of probably about 40 or 50 people, you're the only one in here that has that desire?
Well, considering I'm graduating in about 4 weeks, it's actually good. Job.
Good job security, right? That is good. That's great. Sweet. Okay. Awesome. All right. Young lady with the black hat on. Where you from?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. I knew it because it was new. I like that hat. Floor to the side.
I want to serve the church. Preferably through worship leading, or I'm a double major in youth ministry. So working with youth would be awesome. That's where my heart's at, the church, the college and the church. I like being able to take the best out of people and bring them together. And I'm here because, well, mostly because of the worship department. That's what I wanted to do, worship leading, and because the school is just an incredible place to grow in your faith and learn about who God is.
I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me I'm here because my parents made me come here because they think it. Raise your hand. Who's in here? Don't lie. You're in here. parents were here and they said, this is where you're going to go? Nobody? Not yet.
One row.
We asked you this question only because, and we were talking about this as we were driving up here, is that if you don't, now it's 7 for him, but I had to take another 4 coming from Atlanta. But if you don't know what you want to do, or why you're doing something, you will haphazardly go about doing it. And probably one of the biggest selling books that the Christian world has ever seen, although I don't agree with everything in it, is Purpose-Driven Life. Anybody ever heard that book? Anybody ever heard that book? Yeah. And the reason why is because it was really directing people to hone into what really is your purpose of doing what you're doing, or why you're doing it, why are you here? What's the purpose of doing this or doing that? Is that really what God has called you to do? And if He has called you to do that, then are you effectively doing those kind of things? And without knowing your purpose, you will aimlessly just walk around and do a whole lot of things. When I was in school, I had a whole bunch of guys that every year they would change their major. One year when we went into school, they were a music education major. Next year, they were just a performance major. The next year after that, they were a gym major. Then after that, when they graduated, they got a degree in basket weaving. Oh, there is a degree in basket weaving. There is a degree. I don't know why, but there is. And so without a purpose and understanding what it is that I want to do and what God really innately has drawn me to do, I will aimlessly just go about doing things. I will haphazardly get involved in things. You'll join 35 organizations. You'll be a part of fraternities and don't even know why and all these kind of things. You'll do we were talking about that last night. Do a whole lot of things. And then you'll come to the end of your college career and you're like, I don't think I want to go into this. And you get just spent, how much ever money you did to get a degree in that. You ever met anybody that has a business degree, but they're doing something totally different than business? You ever met that someone had a psychology degree, but they're doing something totally different? What is your purpose? See, we're going to ask you some hard questions, because y'all sitting here and y'all don't want to ask us any questions, so we're going to ask you these questions. Do you know your purpose? How do I find out what my purpose is? Well, this is the greatest tool to be able to do that. It's right here. If we didn't have this in our life, there'd be a lot of things that we would probably be doing that we shouldn't be doing. My first purpose is to be a worshiper of the Father. That's the premise of everything. And then everything from there, we get the web or the chain. Everything develops from that. But if this is not the foundation, trust me. When you turn on the TV today or your computer today, just watch to see how many successful, in the eyes of society, stars that we have that are aimlessly just doing a whole bunch of craziness, and they're on TMZ. Who watches TMZ? Am I the only person? Because I want to see what these nutcases are doing. Without this, you'll end up on TMZ. Look at your neighbor and say, don't end up on TMZ. What is your purpose?
All right, last night we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your classmates come up. If y'all didn't know who was there at the concert, there was very, very little preparation of what you heard last night from these guys, which shows that they have before we got there, I mean, trust me, when we go into situations, we meet a lot of musicians, it doesn't take me long to identify whether you got it or you don't have it. But these guys, I really want to hear from what you learned from last night that will help them, because they didn't know some of the stuff was just off the cuff. How many of you know that when he came up on the keyboard and he sat down, he didn't know what he was getting ready to do. Like, no word of preparation, no clue, no sign language. I didn't give him nothing. And I can see his hand shaking a little bit. He was like, what are we getting ready to do? We didn't discuss this. You didn't tell me about this. You know, we said we were going to do these 3 songs or 4 songs. But we didn't talk about this one. But his willingness, he came up. I said, let's play G. And, you know, did this little passing chord thing. And before you know it, God told me to play one of Mercy Me songs. How many are familiar with that song, Word of God Speak? Yeah. I didn't even know I was going to play that. And that was the awesome experience of God flowing in you out of things that 95% of preparation that you've done. Okay? It could have totally went south if I hadn't at least had conversations with him early that day and got to know him and build a quick relationship with him, telling me he played jazz, improv, classical, gospel. He's done a lot of music. So in my inventory of the investigation, I knew that I was getting ready to deal with a piano player that doesn't always play by the book or doesn't always play by sheet music. And he's able to improv, to do things off the fly, from your heart, what you feel. He didn't know I was asking him questions for that reason. I didn't either. But I knew if God put in me for him to play, he was going to be the one that was going to be ready and prepared. And when he came up, he started playing, I said, man, do you know Word of God Speak? Y'all didn't know we was having a conversation, did you? Did y'all know that? No? I asked him one question, you know Word of God Speak? He was like, I mean, his look on his face, like right now, it's like, yeah, I don't know, I guess. And I said, okay, just flow in, get ready to play the song, Word of God Speak. I didn't even turn around and look at Marvin. He didn't know what I was going to do. Out of all the years we've been playing together, I've never played that song, even with him. So I've never done it. But just being prepared and him jumping right in there, it was an awesome moment. I mean, I enjoyed that song because it was one of those songs that it was off the cuff. It was like, okay, the people need this song. Do it. And he can trust us with it because we've already prepared. So give me your experience on last night with that one situation.
I was a little scared, but just kind of tried to go with it. I don't really remember too much from that part.
So did you black out?
So did you black out? Like,
no, I kind of got in the zone of just trying to like follow you guys, and that was it for that moment right there. I was kind of like, God, you know what you're doing, so I'm up here for a reason, and that was about it.
yeah, you'd be surprised of how much stuff you learn here at school that you can apply, and then when you actually get into the moment after you graduate and you get thrown into the lion's den of not knowing what's going to happen or what to do, how that learning experience will just rise to the top and teach you to not just pat yourself on the back, but teach you how preparation did work. How me practicing at home, how me understanding melody lines and how to flow and how to follow and how to be observant. And all these things that sometimes school may not teach you, but the life experience, that's why when we came in, we gave y'all an experience that you probably didn't have in class. Because sometimes in class things are, you can see it's on paper, it's structured. But if I can play my bass upside down, Yeah, I'm gonna give you that same challenge with playing some music you probably never played before either, so that's the fun of it. Who else? Okay, so your brother, which is so awesome with the beard, you know, the one you can't grow. He was the setup guy yesterday. He was teching, he was making sure our mics and cables and all that stuff was right. And we thought when we were coming, we would have a worship team with a band and singers. And to come to find out, we didn't have any singers. And he briefly came out to the car. And he was trying to help us load our stuff in. And we didn't really have a lot of stuff, but I made him scared, you know, thinking, oh yeah, we got a trunk full of stuff. All we had was like guitars and stuff, so he really didn't have anything to carry in. But when we met him, we built a quick relationship. I did what I do, which is a quick interview. You don't know I'm doing it, just be ready. Anytime you meet somebody, have your story together, because she got it together. She is ready. And I asked him, hey, what's your name, man? Where you from? What do you do? Oh yeah, I'm a worship major. I sing, and that's one part. I sing, play acoustic. Well, I knew we had an acoustic guitar player, so I really didn't need him to play. But when he said sing, I said, okay. So when we got in there and found out we didn't have singers, my instinct was, okay, well, I need to see what this guy got. And me and him were like whispering on the fly. Y'all didn't know while we were setting up. We having our little conversation. And I said, man, I need to find out if he can sing. And I ain't going to kind of put him on the spot when we get there. I need to hear something. I need to hear just a little something. So I said, man, y'all know 10,000 Reasons? Oh, yeah. So we was getting ready to do it. Marvin was getting ready to sing, kind of sound check, make sure the band was good. He was still rolling up cables. He was still doing his mic stand and stuff. I said, man, let me see if he can sing. I said, hey man, come over here and sing, 10,000 Reasons. Then we had to figure out what key. He stepped to the mic. Bless the Lord. And from that point, I said, okay, we good. All I needed was a tad bit. Okay? His pitch was good. His appearance was good. He didn't come up and close his eyes until he was feeling it. Everything was at a performance level. And it didn't take me but 5 seconds to see that. After that, man, we threw him 10,000 Reasons. We threw him One Thing Remains. We started giving him songs. It was his concert. But he owned it from that 5 seconds of being confident and sure about what he was doing. So give us your experience.
It was kind of a little nerve-wracking just that I was singing, but it was a good experience, and it was like the first time I'd sung without playing an instrument, with a mic, and not being the one that's directing the band and saying this is where we're going. So it was kind of a little frustrating, not necessarily knowing what line I'm going into next and having to listen to you guys, but it wasn't incredibly difficult as much as it was just not I don't know the right word, it wasn't confused, but not sure where everything was going. So it was kind of a little bit of a stretch, but it wasn't too bad, especially with having so many other musicians on stage that were knowing, they were in the same boat, but everyone was kind of struggling with it.
I'm not dying by myself either.
It was really a great experience.
See, being stretched is good. He had no idea that he had it until that stretching process happened. After the concert, we could not shut him up. He was singing all the time that he was breaking down the equipment. He was just singing by himself. He felt good. He was like, man, I made it through this. He would not stop singing. Prior to that, when we set up, you didn't hear nothing from him. So in these experiences that you will encounter, it will build confidence so that you can get to that next level in your music. But you can't plan these things out. I don't care how much you try. These things, you have to let God just use you and pull you and stretch you in directions that you necessarily can't plan or predict yourself. Okay? All right, guitar players. I had 2 guitar players. What was your experience?
I
guess it's just, just like a nervousness of not knowing, I guess the full structure of songs. Like sometimes I guess it's easy to get into, okay, what does the artist, like, what's their recording sound like? And just like, and you guys were, like, taught us, well, that you can add your own style, flavor to the song and make it your own. And not have to be, I guess, like restrained or like held back by you want or have to do what the artist like you're recording.
Yeah. Anytime you're doing a song and you're covering the song, I suggest never shame the song, never make the song embarrassing, never cover it and the artist that you had never even heard it. You know what I mean? Sometimes we can cover a song and it's like the worst rendition and cover of the song. Sometimes we need to leave it alone. But when you take a song, I'm telling you, it's the worst thing. If somebody was covering my song, I would hate it. If they didn't portray and try to focus on at least the foundation of what I was trying to portray. You know what I mean? So we didn't compromise the integrity of the song when we were doing it the way. We just added a little flavor here, arranged it over here. The song didn't have a solo, we gave it a solo. The song didn't have this, we gave it. So we didn't compromise the integrity of the song, but in doing worship music, when the foundation is there, learn the foundation, learn the structure of the song, learn it, prepare for it. But if guys like us come in and we're totally gonna rip the song apart, there ain't gonna be two choruses. It might be a verse, it might be the bridge, it might be just a verse with no tempo, like we started 10,000 Feet. And he's probably like, man, I need the tempo there to know where we are. No, dude, just flow. We got your support. You know what I mean? So having those times, man, it's just, woo. It makes chills over me when I can see it come together and operate. And then I can see you guys out there with your hands, you're worshiping, you're singing, and you have no idea that these guys up here are scared to death. Terrified. Awesome. Other guitar player.
I guess, yeah, it was definitely stretching. Whenever I get the chance to play lead guitar, which is not very often, like, I try to, like, write parts that I can repeat in practice, because, you know, I'm not a shred guitar player, and so improving the whole time and not knowing where we were going was definitely stretching, because I was kind of like, okay, that sounds good, I'll repeat that a couple times, and then we switched to a different part of the song, I'm like, okay, I gotta come up with something for that. And it also showed me, I mean, these guys didn't see it, but in practice, I mean, when you're kind of moving around the song and you don't, like, you're just letting the song go where it goes, it creates moments, and those moments are awesome. But I learned real quickly how you can destroy one of those moments by not paying attention. And because I was just like kind of doing my own little thing, and you're just like, hey, drum solo. and so you gotta pay attention, you gotta really vibe with the other musicians, which I think that's part of what creates those moments is playing off the other musicians and listening to where they're going and kind of like making it one big thing, not just, you know, about one person.
Yeah. In a symphony or orchestra, and you have to correct me, y'all who are scholars in this, it seems like the violin player or the trumpet player, when they're reading their music and they're watching the conductor, I mean, do they have like their eyes are doing different things? And they're actually seeing two things?
We have to, because we have to know where they're going. Some of them read it enough just so they can fluctuate this way, and some of them, okay, I can't read this right now, I just need to know this part so I can focus. Because there's dynamics and things that they have to be pay attention to.
So in worship, sometimes we fail to realize that, and we get caught up and do what? Close our eyes. We get so engulfed in it until we kind of in our own world. And when a music director does, or the conductor does throw a cue, you all in a whole other world, another space, and you forget that you're supposed to be paying attention, transition comes up, and you totally miss it. Okay? Same thing, you gotta kind of operate to where you know your music, you're watching who's ever in charge, conducting, leading. It could be the worship leader. You know, they could give you a cue with their body language. That's very important, that you can understand the person that is directing you and understand the cues. When we first started and we got together yesterday, there were some things I told you. I said, you know, when we build, you'll see my body language. You'll see where we're going through the way I jump around, not the way Marvin dances, but the way I jump around and move and kind of, and those things you gotta watch. You gotta watch because we're gonna go to a part and I don't care what happens, this song is not gonna go like the record. It's just not gonna be like the record. So in order to really enjoy and get in those moments, and not saying that you can't have a moment to worship, but you have to worship with one eye open, one eye closed, and kind of see what's going on so that you don't miss those moments. Okay? All right, who else? Drummer. Yeah. What was your experience?
I haven't played drums in a while, and so when I was told I was playing, with the bass player, it's pretty profound. I was like, oh. But yeah, I think one of the things I learned is the fun that you have in rehearsal to definitely be present when you guys are actually performing and leading in worship. And to know your craft well enough to be free in the song, as well as develop your group so you can trust them to be free when you're actually performing.
Awesome. I didn't know that he was a bass player till after the concert. I would have been intimidated. You know what I mean? I didn't know he was a bass player. I didn't know he could sing. What else you do?
Piano.
Piano. Had no idea. So when you're dealing with people, a lot of times they have abilities to do other things, and they really have a good understanding of all the instruments going on because they can do it. Okay? If you play just one instrument, I suggest learning the counter instrument so that you can understand. If you're, how many bass players? Now I'm going to dig into who does what. Bass player? How well do you know drums?
All right.
See, that right there shouldn't be. Whether you can play or not is one thing, but you have got to at least understand the drums to where you know what the bass is supposed to do to help the drums. Because that's the tightest relationship on stage, the bass and drums. And if you do this right here, sometimes it's going to sound like that when you play. It's going to, So because he's a bass player and drums he hadn't done in a while, he sat down on the drums and delivered the drums at the best of his ability based on his knowledge of playing bass and all these other things. That make sense? So when he was back there playing, the first thing, what did I get on you about yesterday?
Focusing.
Focusing. And that makes sense. If he's not a drummer a lot of times, he may be focusing on, okay, I got to keep this beat. I got to make sure I stay consistent. So in his playing, I'm standing over here. He either was reading a book, checking his text messages, or some little man or midget was talking to him. Because he looked like this the whole time. I mean, he was digging in. He was playing and boom, boom. And I was like, okay, this ain't gonna work. Because me and the drums, we supposed to be here, and he ain't paying me a bit of attention. Okay? I said, hey, make sure, I stopped everything. I said, make sure you keep your heads up. Keep your head up so you can see what's going on around you. Nobody drives a car like this. Okay? And when you do that, trust me, you're going to have a high insurance bill. Or no license at all. Okay? Musicians who play like that, you won't have a job. You won't have a gig. Because you are going to miss the cues that the worship leader, that the presence of God is going on in the sanctuary, that you should be focused on, because it may move or sway a different way. And you got to keep your eyes open and stay focused, because it may be something where we do a quick breakdown and you still plowing away because you over here talking to that little midget. You know what I mean? Well, little people, they don't like to be called men. I got no little people here. So, you got, I'm sorry.
Please edit that.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, you gotta make sure y'all edit it. You gotta make sure you pay attention. I've got video. I love little people. Make sure you pay attention as musicians, singers, and what you do. You gotta look at each band member. If nothing else, the audience wants to see you do what? They want to see your face. They want to see you smile. They want to see you enjoying yourself. They don't want to see you playing with your back to the wall and just, you know. They want to see that joy that you so-called have because you're enjoying what you're doing and how you're playing. So if you seem like you feel it that much, let us see it. Let the people enjoy it. Let the connection come. But these guys last night, I'm telling you, without any, and I heard that y'all had just found out how many days ago? 2 days ago. That was awesome. And I made them put the charts up. We didn't even use charts, did we? And I'm not saying that's like a rule of thumbs and stuff that you do, but prepare yourself so that you don't necessarily have to read everything. It's good to have it there, but be able to come off that paper and say, okay, God wants us to do this for the people. I mean, you could be at a totally, especially when you're doing bands, you might be at a totally different venue. God says, do this. You know, you can have 2 or 3 services on Sunday when you get into your worship teams and stuff, and God may totally change the song for the next service, or go to a different flow because something's pulling on you that someone needs this song this way in this arrangement. Okay? Who wants to be a music director here? Okay.
Now, there's a difference between music director, worship pastor, worship leader. Y'all do know that, right? There's a major difference in that. Now, the aspect that he just gave you, the conversation that we just had with the musicians, that's from a music director's standpoint. From a worship leader's standpoint, now I ask the same questions that he was asking you, who are you, what about you? Those are questions that I need to know, who you are. Because I need to be able to develop a relationship with you, so when he developed a relationship with Michael, am I correct? He understood where Michael was and what Michael could do. We didn't know that Michael wasn't a drummer. We didn't know Michael was a bass player. But through the relationship, it's okay, I'm going to do these songs so that he looks nice on these songs doing this right here. I'm going to do this song with him because I think this song fits his voice. Why? Because he developed a small relationship and he understood that. Without relationship, you're going to die in leading worship. Without relationship, you're going to die leading worship. Because if you don't know the people that are on your team, that are in your band, that are on your staff, if you don't know those volunteers when they come in, if you don't know the propensity of Deacon Jones when he joins the choir and you get ready to do a showcase with your choir, but Deacon Jones doesn't move, he just stands there and he always sings bass, but he thinks he's a tenor. If you don't know that, then when it's time to get up there and he starts singing, "Go down, Moses," and y'all are singing, "Oh, praise the Lord, go down, Moses," it's going to be a conflict. So you have to have a relationship. And the premise of what he was talking about with these musicians is that, you know what? When I met these guys, I wanted to know something about their background that would give me a picture. Then let me hear a little bit about them. Then that'll give me another picture. Now I know what songs to do and what songs not to do. Because it was a short time, we've only had 2 days to prepare, and these are the songs that we prepared for. Wait a minute, these songs may not jive off with what we got going on. Let me think about this. Okay, he said he likes to do this. He said he's never done this. He said he's almost getting right at trying to do this. He's married. He's not married. He's married. He's been only married 2 days and all this kind of stuff. He got his Duck Dynasty on, so I know he got a good flow happening right here. Let's do this, 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 and this. And what came across on the stage was not that we were not prepared. It was a moment of worship. This is very important. You can never prepare for that. You can never make that moment happen, but you can prepare for that moment. everybody always wants to do this, Roger. Everybody always wants to. They want to be the next Hillsong. They do the song just like Hillsong does it. They get the big bill. Boom, boom, they got the drums going, the guitar. And they just wait for that big band. Yo! And they do it exactly like the CD. And then they look out in the crowd and they wonder why the crowd is not participating like they did on the Hillsong DVD. Because they're doing it exactly like the CD, and they think, oh, if I can recreate this moment that they did, we'll have the same moment. You can't create those moments, but you can prepare for those moments. And in rehearsal, all those guys that were in the band last night, raise your hand. In rehearsal, we were preparing, and even in rehearsal, we had those moments. So when we stepped on stage, we were open to whatever moment God wanted to give us. And as a worship leader, as a worship pastor, as a choir director, you have to know who you're working with. Because if you don't know who you're working with, you're going to end up in a heap of trouble. One of the churches that I was on staff at, I had 62 volunteers. I had 5 worship teams. We had 4 services every weekend. 2 different locations. Can you imagine rotating through 5 worship teams? Can you imagine having to, okay, we got 17 bass players. Everybody wants to play on this Sunday because their mom is in town. Now, you have to navigate, these are the songs that I want to do. You look at my list of musicians. Who can I put in to make sure that this song happens like this song happens like this song happens? Because I know, tell me your name. I know David has that Motown groove feel. So I know if I want to do some Kurt Carr music, which is more gospel-y, I could use David. But if I want to do some Planet Shakers anthem, I know David may not be the person for that because he has this type of feel. Although I want to develop David into being able to do that. What's your name? Colin. So I know Colin loves Planet Shakers and Hillsong. Because every time he walks by me, he's playing the bass line to one of the songs. So who do you think I would use that Sunday? Huh? Colin. And the following week, I'll use David. Why? Because I know my team. I'm in right relationship. When we got here today, he asked you, did you know where everybody was from? And y'all were like, I don't know anything about this guy. It's impossible for you to be in this department and not know the people that are in this department. It's only what, maybe 100?
60.
60? It's only 60? That's a football team. You don't think the coach knows everybody on the football team? You don't think the kicker knows who the running back is? Who the second string running back is? Who the linemen are? I guarantee you the kicker knows everybody who's a lineman because he doesn't want to get hit. So in my having a relationship with you, I learned some things about you, you learned some things about me, and then I learned how to work together. Relationship is key. Everybody say that. Now, in Christianity, what is it? Is it a religion? What is it? Oh man, I'm telling you, y'all get ready to get saved right now. It's a relationship. And without that relationship with Christ, you're going to be haphazardly just walking through. So if that's how he designed it, ding, 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 shouldn't that be how I'm operating in whatever I'm doing? All right. Now, I know a couple of guys are married in here. Where my married guys at? Was 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. All right, 3 guys. All right, now, check this out. If you only talk to your wife on Tuesday and Sunday afternoon, how long are you going to be married? Tuesday. That's it. That's it. She go pack her stuff. She going back with mom and them. I ain't still with him. He don't talk to me. I love me. And then you be like, but I talk to you on Tuesdays and Sundays, baby. In the commercials. What's up? What do you mean? How many of you have a significant other? Yeah, Michael, throw your hand up, baby. Yeah, oh, baby. Michael forsook us last night. We were going out to hang out. Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Now, if you decide that, you know what, I'm only going to talk to her just on Wednesdays at lunchtime. And the other 6 days, I just walk by. How long do you think that's going to last? How long do you think that's going to last? Not very, about a few hours. It depends on who she is. She may catch you behind the head with a brick. But on the other side of that, if you really spend time knowing her, knowing him, finding out what they like, what they don't like, finding about meeting their parents, getting to know their parents, finding out the crazy that happens in their family and all that kind of stuff. I tell people all the time, if you're going to date, at least date for 1 full year, because you need to know how people act during Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, all those things. You need to know, because crazy can come out at any time. It can come out at any time. And so in your relationship on your team, you need to get to know some people, because you don't know how they're going to act during Christmas season, because their church experiences at another church may be bad at Christmas time. And so when they're getting up there to sing, they can have a flashback and just like set fire to the Christmas trees that you got on stage. You need to know who they are. So that relationship is very important. And the relationship that we have, and we're going to play something here in like 2 minutes here. The relationship, what are you doing? The relationship that we have is solely based off of Starburst. It's solely based off of Starburst. But the relationship that we have, we built this, we've been knowing each other for almost 23 years. We met back in 1990 in college. I was at one school, he was at another school. We were both, I'm a bass player. I'm a former bass player. I'm a recovering addict. All right, bass player. And so that's how we met. We played with some of the same artists in the area. We did some of the same shows and things of that nature. And really, literally, this is crazy. Because we didn't have a one-on-one relationship, we had a relationship with other people. There was somewhat of a little bit of animosity between us that really wasn't between us. Can you believe it? We really didn't like each other, but we didn't really not like each other. It just was like, well, somebody said this to him about me, somebody said this to me about him, and so we were cordial with each other, but we weren't on that type of relationship type thing. It wasn't until we decided to sit down and talk to one another that we found out, oh, dude, he said it. Oh, I ain't say that, man. Dude said that. Oh, I ain't say that. Oh, man, I like what you do. Oh, yeah, cool. What's up? Let's be boys. But because we were relying on a relationship with somebody else and not one another, there was friction between us and we didn't even know it. There's a competition that was set in between us that neither one of us was saying, but we knew it was visible. Why? Because we didn't have a one-on-one relationship. Our relationship was based upon, what's your name?
Allison.
Allison. Because he knew Allison, I knew Allison. Allison sings, so he plays with Allison. Allison sings, I play with Allison when he can't play, or he can't play when I can play, so we got this thing going. So Allison said, oh man, he played like this, and I really like this, and then I do this, and all that. Then all of a sudden when I see him, oh, you think he's bad. Now he's left-handed, I'm right-handed. He's real smooth, I'm gritty. I'm like in your face. He's just like, yeah. Every now and again he'll lift his foot up like this right here. I'm always jumping. I'm just like on 10 all the time. Totally different. But when we develop a relationship, his differences in me and my differences in him, we come together on stage, it happens like that. You're going to be in a band with somebody on your worship team or your group or whatever that is totally opposite of you. But when you're in the right relationship with them, it will work. If you're not in right relationship with them, it's like two magnets of the same pole. You ever try to put two magnets together? Relationship. A question to you. Tell me your name.
Chris.
Chris. What's your classification? Sophomore, junior, senior? Sophomore. Who in here you have a relationship with?
David, Colin, Mike, Bree, a couple of them.
What about you, David? At least you got to say him because he's here.
Chris and Colin, Mike, Allie, John, Jason, Bree. Yeah.
He's like everybody.
A few people. I mean, not everyone.
Anybody on this side of the room?
Uh,
I don't know none of these guys. These guys.
over there. Clay.
Who's Clay? You're Clay? South Clay.
Who do you not know or have a relationship with at all?
These two guys up here and three over
These two
there.
guys right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so you now have to go sit over there. Go sit between them. You slide over one. He's going to sit between them. You can take your coat. Oh, well, never mind. I'll wear it. See, look here. I took you right back, didn't I? When I did that right there, Jim, you went right back to Happy Days, didn't you?
I can't believe that you would have.
Hey, that's it, baby.
When I
That's
saw the coat, that's the first thing I thought
it's
about.
the Black Happy Days. Relationship. Who do you not know in here? Tell me.
Probably seeing the guys over there.
Okay, you need to go sitting over there then. All right, go sit on over there. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your friend from you. I'm sorry, he's good. All right. You already know him, right? You know he's crazy. Cool. This is your project for all of next week. Somebody in here that you do not know, at least 3 people. Next week, you need to get to know those 3 people. That's your homework for the next week. Now guess what? We'll never be able to check it because we don't have none of your phone numbers, although I'm going to get your phone number. Bam, right there. But I want you to begin to develop relationships because it is through relationship that we established when we were in school that now allows us to do what we do now together. Many years later. The relationship that you develop now with the person sitting next to you or in this room will benefit you 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. I never knew that we'd be torn together. I never knew that I'd be able to be on the stage with some of the artists that I was in through the relationship that I've had with him. And I know he definitely didn't think he was going to be on stage with me. But through our relationship, we are now at this platform. Ready to build some new relationships? Now guess what? It's going to be difficult because you're going to find out some things about them that you weren't really, oh man, you're weird. And then they're going to find out about you. You're really weird. But it's those differences that we come to know about this person and that person that makes that relationship great. Because now I get to understand different people. Because if I find out that you're weird, when I go on staff and got like 25 weird people, I don't know how to deal with them. Just from the relationship that I had with, what's your name again? Colin. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got 5 Collins on my staff. Yeah. Oh, this is no problem. Because the pastor's going to say, well, Sister Johnson, you know, she's a little difficult. Oh, yeah, I had Colin in my class. It can't be that bad. Did you know who my professor was? Oh, yeah. The crack the whip. Yeah. Because you're going to go to a church and your pastor's going to be like on you all the time. You're like, yes. Oh, yeah. Do you know Professor Raj? Yeah, I'm good. Through your relationship. Everybody say relationship.
Relationship.
This is warm, man. It's a little bit warm. I'm going to wear this while I play, Pete. All right?
Any questions for us? We got a lot. Yeah, you really look fun. Any questions for us based on last night, concert? Nothing?
Right here on the front. On the front. Yes.
So you asked us why we were here. Why are you all here? How did you get here? you always knew you were gonna do this? Like, what was your direction getting here?
Here as in just music and full-time touring and talking to you.
Sure.
Let's see. I always knew I wanted to be a musician. The older I got, you know, when I got 6, 7, I always felt like, man, I want to be on TV. Well, somewhere in that, I didn't think that I had to get in front of people. I know. So I grew up terrified and very shy of getting in front of people. You don't understand that now, but I didn't like talking in front of people. When I was little, we did the recitals at church for Easter. I don't know if y'all did those, where you had to come up and do a speech. I was so scared I had to go home and teach myself how to play piano. So I wouldn't have to do a speech. So I would learn piano by one, a song with one finger, It could be something simple. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Just something real simple. Because I didn't want to get up in front and talk. And the piano was it had a big top on it. So I was behind and nobody could see me, So I was hiding. So a lot of my years, I'm like, man, I want to play, but man, I can't get in front of these people. How is this supposed to work? So the more I got into it, I literally was doing the Southern gospel stuff. I used to stand behind the biggest man in the group. And if he moved over here with the microphone, I moved with him. Because I didn't want him to be exposed. Well, what I found out, what I got was, the less I knew, the less I wanted to be exposed. The more I knew, the more I would come out from behind the person. Because I didn't mind people looking at me because I was starting to develop, and I was like, okay, I feel a little confident. Okay, now I need to get a little smooth with it. Yeah, okay. So things started to develop, but I always wanted to do music. Now, I never thought that I would be at a place where I'm actually talking to you about it. I thought I would just play, plug up, unplug, leave stage, and that's it. So now God has us on a journey of just mentoring and sharing our story and our gifts without our instrument. And it's hard to talk with Starburst in your mouth.
That's why I eat mine, huh?
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to eat mine and you asked me to talk to him. So music has always been a thing that I always wanted to do. Now, in that journey, I've done some other things. I went to school for horticulture landscaping. That's like crazy. Trying to be a musician and learn about plants and scientific names and grass, grass you grow. Just learning all those things. And then I ended up playing, and I had some my instructors found out, oh, we found out you were a musician. Because on campus, I was doing all the talent shows. I was a music director for stuff that I didn't even realize I was a music director for. So I was practicing my gift and didn't even know it. Somebody said, we're doing this, I would put a band together. I had to learn how to set up tech stuff. I set up the sound system. Before you know it, the college was doing the choir was doing a tour. I became that person who set up all the gear. I just did everything. And those things were developing me so I can better serve artists, on a bigger level. But I'm trying to figure out how I got to that based on what you asked me. I just love music. And this journey has just been great for me and Marvin. I don't know. I think I will continue doing music for the rest of my life. So I record, traveling with Mendiso the last 7, 8 years has been like a huge dream. I've always wanted to get on a tour bus. So over the last 11 years, I've been riding tour buses every other weekend. And if you've never been on one, it's not your Greyhound. It's not your Trailway bus. It's literally a huge lounge in the front with a big old 6-inch TV, with couches, refrigerator, microwave, little kitchen, bathroom. Sleep 12 in the middle. As long as you're not snoring and passing gas, everything's all right. Then we have a huge lounge in the back with TVs, and it's just a way to tour. And some people don't have that luxury when they're starting their bands because, hey, we got to get to the gig, we got to get a band. We got to put a trailer on the back. And that's not a bad thing. Most bands have started out like that. But it's the determination of that person. If you're gonna do it, you gotta really just jump in and do it, regardless of what it takes to do it. So.
And me on the other hand, I've always wanted to be in front of people. I've always wanted to be in front of people. I never thought that my musical skill would put me in front of people. But I went to school for music education. I wanted to teach. I've always wanted to teach. So I saw myself being in a setting like this. I wanted to be a professor in school. I wanted to be able to teach high school, middle school, and all those kind of things. I just didn't think that I would be teaching at this level with this. I wanted to be the instructor. Okay, get your saxophones. Okay, we're gonna do Dance Celestial. All right, well, here we go. All right, no, that's a B flat right there, trumpets. B flat. You're playing a B naturally. That's what I wanted to do. So I've always wanted to do this, even as a little kid. I've always wanted to, as like Bernard says, I've always wanted to be on TV. I used to watch all the TV shows. It's like, I can do that. And so I would always entertain no matter where I was. Now, being a believer is totally different. I never wanted to be a believer. Because when I was a child, my parents were in the ministry, and both of them were working hard in the ministry. And then things went awry with their marriage, and they got a divorce. And the same people that I saw them serving began to just humiliate them and demonize them and all that kind of stuff. So you know, I said, you know what? I don't want anything to do with this God or anything to do with religion at all. Boom, I'm out of here. So I became a Muslim. It's like, oh no, some Al-Qaeda here now. I joined the Nation of Islam. I totally changed everything because I knew there was a God. I just didn't want to serve the God that they were serving. But in God's sovereignty and His love for me, He knew what He wanted me to do. So my learning different instruments, I play about 10 different instruments. In my learning my instruments, in my honing my craft, He knew that this day was coming where me and Bernard would be standing before you answering this question. I didn't know that, but He knew that. But He was preparing me. He prepared me as even in my diversion of going in another direction. Because the scripture says that, that all the bad, it will still work out for the good, for them to love it. So all the bad things that I was doing, all the craziness that I was doing, that's why He really didn't expect to be on stage with me at any time. Because He knew me when I was in college. And I was like, you ever seen The Godfather? You ever seen, what's like the worst gangster movie you ever seen? Give me one. You say, wait, I've never seen one. I only watch The Passion of the Christ every Tuesday. The Sopranos, all that kind of stuff, all that stuff, that was my life. And so, for us to be on stage together sharing in ministry is totally different. Because I know He didn't expect to be sharing on stage with me because He knew me before. But God knew. In preparing our relationship early, and preparing us in our craft and our skill and all those kind of things. So we can set in our mind what we want to do, but then when we lay it before the Lord, He can take it to do something even greater than what we've ever expected. So we've both been on television. We've both been able to tour the world. We've both been able to go into universities and talk, be in front of large crowds, or a home fellowship of about 8 people. Doesn't make a difference. When we walked in last night, there were only 4 people in the crowd. You know what we said in the back? All right, showtime, let's go ahead and give them what God got. And then Roger prayed, and then we walked out there. Oh, it's more than 4 people out here. But we had already said in our mind that with the same thing that we did last night for all those people, if those 4 people would have got the same show. Well, not the same show, but the same moments. God will take you if you're willing. He always keeps talking about being available, being prepared, being available. If you're available for God, He will use you. And many times that He uses you, it's without this. He wants to prepare you for this. But like last night, He didn't have this last night. He was like, that beer in my hand, I'm sticking it out of my pocket. But did He not share and minister to you guys last night without that in His hand? He didn't know what to do. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. So you can have your goals, you can have everything that you have planned out. But the premise is I take all my dreams, my aspirations, even in that song, I give myself away, all my dreams and all my plans. My life is in your hands. I got all these things that I want to do, but I'm going to lay them before you, God, and watch what you do with that. Because his plan is a lot greater than your plan. I guarantee you. And what you have for you is probably cool. And I used to be a youth pastor, college and careers pastor, missions pastor, evangelistic pastor, administrative staff pastor, assistant pastor. The only position I haven't held in the church is the senior pastor and women's director. And my wife's been women's director, so I still got garnished into that too. And so with that, I've seen a lot of different things. And so seeing a lot of different things, it gives me a different perspective of how to give what I have to the Lord. Because what's in my mind, I never expected to be on staff at anybody's church. But because I gave God all that I wanted and all that I had, he took who I was and placed me in these places. Because I had a relationship with him. I was willing to be obedient, surrender my will to his will, and willing to sacrifice. If you look at those three things, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That's what worship is. And in that, God uses them for his glory, not mine. I get the benefit because I get to hang out with you. All right? Cool. I love this jacket, man. It's soft on me.
Any more questions? Yeah.
How do you balance having like a family life with such a demanding career and being on the road?
First. Okay, I got married at 23. First child at 24. Second child at 32. Third child at 33. 34, something like that. I hope that don't nobody watch this video because I don't know if these years are right. But I have a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 17-year-old. And all girls. Yeah, that does make a difference. It does. All girls. At the time when they were all small, daycare, infant, you know, me and my wife were employed at the same ministry. She was executive secretary, doing all that type of stuff. I was, and this is crazy, I was bass player / maintenance man. I did whatever I could do so I would not have to go out and work with my brother pulling data cables in construction sites in the middle of the winter. Those buildings that have no windows and doors while they're in the middle of construction, and you got your gloves on, you're pulling cable, and you're terminating computer lines for the internet and all that stuff. Those lines right there, we would come in and wire this whole building up while it's in construction. In the hot summer or the cold winter. I was like, man, Lord, I need something better. Yeah, I will play bass and clean the toilet. I will play bass and strip the floors. I had no idea how to do the buffer. And we had a hallway in the church. What a huge church, a hallway. And here I am, first day at work, and I got the buffer, and it's like tearing the wall up. You know, it's got the thing spinning on there, you know, it's got the shine, and it's like, bang, you know, boom, and I'm just going down the hallway, just tearing the wall, I'm tearing it up. But my wife is in the office working, I'm so happy. She over there, I'm smiling, bam, you know. And I'm like, oh God, they're gonna fire me. And then I had to own it. I had to do what I did on my instrument. I had to learn it with a passion and figure it out. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it all the way. So I had to figure out, okay, if I do this, it goes this way. If I do this, it goes. I had to get it smooth. And that hallway trained me on how to buff a floor without hitting everything. So it was like, I started floating. Had no idea I was in training for more than just buffing floors, but it was really learning, being disciplined and learning something new that I did not want to do, but I ended up doing it, and then having to do toilets and having to vacuum. So I would do a church service, and after the church service, put my bass down and go pick up some gloves and a mop. Get it ready for the next service. So I was serving and doing all that stuff. So it made it easy to have kids, and the wife and everybody was there. We moved to another sanctuary. I had some more kids. They had a daycare. All the kids went there. It was easy. When I moved to Nashville 11 years ago, that's when I really started touring. Before then, I didn't travel. Before then, I didn't fly a lot. I tried to talk myself out of the fact that, oh, man, I ain't touring. You know, everybody's planes dropping out of the sky every day. I ain't getting on no plane. I'm fine with the church ministry. I ain't going nowhere. I'm just going to stay right here all my life. So I would talk myself out of it and all my friends. Man, what are you touring for? Man, you need to get you a church job so you ain't got to fool with up and down the road and plane and all that stuff. Well, I got to a point where I felt like God was doing something totally new in my life, and I was looking for just a refreshing of music. And when I moved to Nashville with the family and everything, that was a stretching for me. I had never moved or relocated from where I grew up. So it was like, man, I'm getting ready to go somewhere I ain't. This is totally foreign. Didn't really know anybody. And before then, I was playing straight gospel music. I'm talking about Kurt Carr, Kurt Franklin, Fred Hammond. It was all hard music. It was like, I don't know if y'all play gospel or listen to gospel. Sometimes there's some hard stuff to play. And I was like, man, here I am going to Nashville. I want to play like the Nicole C. Mullen stuff. I just got turned on to Call on Jesus and My Redeemer Lives. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do right there. That's like fresh air. You like that song?
Yes.
Oh. So I get to Nashville, and this long story about family and all that's going to come together. I get to Nashville, and all my family's there, and I go downtown to play at this place I wanted to set in. I was like, man, can I set in? So I end up setting in with these musicians, found out these were like the top musicians in Nashville, producers and everything. One of the guys wrote Change the World by Eric Clapton. The other guy played for all these different people. Here I am asking, can I set in? Well, they didn't let me set in. I had my stuff on stage. They said, we'll call you up. And I said, man, they're not calling my name. They playing me. They gonna act like they gonna call me up and don't do it. So they turned around. They was in the middle of a groove. They was jamming. So I literally walked up there on stage, got my bass guitar. They didn't know it. I put it on. I played my vocoder, and I started speaking in tongues on stage. You know, crazy stuff. It was like, man, where does this guy come from? Who is this? We didn't, you know. Come to find out, they had direct connection with all the artists in Nashville. So the following week, I get a phone call from Nicole C. Mullen. She says, could you come on the road with me for a couple days to do some shows? My family goes crazy. They're in Target, running up and down the aisle, sliding on the floor. Like, Daddy got his call, you know, moving to Nashville, won't in vain. We got his call, you know. So that was my first tour bus experience. Then I was able to kind of share it with the family, and on some road trips, I take them with me and different things. So balancing now with the family is a little harder because they're older. They're going through school and changes and stuff. So having to be out for a few days, and when I tour, I'm not out like weeks and weeks at a time. We'll go out for 1 day or 2 days and then come straight back home. So it's real short, but when I'm home, I literally give all my time to them. You know, I go to school and eat lunch with them. They don't want me to now because they're a little older, but I still try to surprise them. If they need me to pick them up, take them to school, we go shopping, we just spend a lot of time together. And then my wife, sometimes on the other hand, she gets the bad end of the stick because she's home and I'm the hero. So the girls are like, Daddy's home. And when Daddy's home, everything's right. When Daddy's gone, ain't nothing right. So that balancing comes into play of just trying to keep them focused and not give my wife just a hard time while I'm gone, because they wait for Dad to get back and tell them about all the wonderful stories he had on the road. And, you know, first thing they say, can I have some money? They ask that before I leave and when I come back. Dad, did you leave us any money? So now I just tell them, don't ask me, don't say nothing. So today, I'll probably check in with them, ask them if they cleaned their room and did all that stuff. Because I always hide money in their rooms, they just don't know where it is. See, you laugh like my daughter. She's like, oh, that's so sweet. So I hide money. So my youngest daughter, I hear some money up under the radio. She loves keeping the radio. And I said, what do you keep on your room all the time? She's like, duh, my radio. I was like, okay, bye. So then later I get a text, you know, thank you, Dad. She lifts up the radio with some money. The other one, I leave it on the shelf. So this weekend, I left one under a hat, under a lamp, and behind the Tennessee Volunteers license plate on the wall. So they don't know where it is, but when they check in with me, I'll let them know. So it's those things that you try to build relationships with, even with your kids and family, that are not just your ordinary 9 to 5, because we don't work traditional jobs. And having that flexibility in schedule, you have to take time, because I might be home 2 weeks. But if I was working 9 to 5, I'm home every day, but I'm home in the evening at, you know, it could be 6 and bed at 10. So a lot of times you don't spend a lot of time with your kids, but you have to make those moments count when you're in town or whether you're out.
I have 3 boys, 8, 11, and 13. The difference with me is that when we're not traveling together, my family travels with me because my wife helps me in ministry. My son, my 13-year-old, is my drummer. Now, the same way I play this is the same way he plays drums. He's just, you know, that kind of stuff. So mine's a little bit different for me because my family travels with me quite a bit. The only time they don't travel with me is when I'm with him, or if I have to go anywhere over 8 hours, I'll fly. Anything under 8 hours, I'll drive. With me, I homeschool my 3 boys, Monday through Thursday. Mom takes Friday because we're doing something else. We're driving their car and all that kind of good stuff. And I spend quite a bit of time with my wife and my boys. I make sure that they know that they are a priority. Because when I first started the church journey, being on staff, I thought, you know, I need to pour 75 hours into the church, and then my wife and my kids were at the house, and then they see me for like 3 hours because then I sleep and then go back to church and work all these crazy hours and things of that nature. And so there became a resentment for the church and for God because I was doing all this here and then come home and just be like, oh, I'm tired, kaput, don't want to do anything. And so I had to come to understand there needs to be a balance. What I wrote important into here because my first ministry is where? Home. God will never give you a ministry to take you away from your first priority, your first ministry. That's your home. That's your wife. That's your kids. He gives you this so that you can provide, so you can do those things that they need, but not to take you away. So it's a constant battle because being a musician in ministry always is pulling. Family is always pulling. But if you balance it right, what does that look like? What does it look like? That's a healthy tension. When you balance it correctly, truth and compassion. Truth and grace. When you balance it correctly, it looks like the cross. Christ is always referring to his Father, even as he's working. Same thing with us. Our family is our foundation, where we get all the stuff that we get inspired with being with our kids and our wives. A lot of our music is because we were spending time with them and doing some crazy things with them. Oh, let me get, I can't imagine. You didn't do that last night. You can do that today? And so it's a healthy tension. It's a balance that you have to learn how to manage. You're not going to master it, but you have to learn how to manage. I'm for sure, even your professors here, with being here on staff and doing all those kind of things, sometimes that gets a little lopsided with them and their family because they have to pour a lot of time into you, a lot of extra hours and all these kind of things. And then their family will, you know, Dad, I thought you said you were going to go with me to the basketball game. See, I know, son, but we got to do this today. We got to do this. I promise I'll make, you know. My problem is that when I was a kid, my dad made me a lot of promises that he didn't follow through with. So I didn't want to be that dad to my kids. This guy here, I mean, he'll go through the uttermost lengths. If his daughters have a competition, cheerleading, or whatever it is, I don't care what tour he's on, he's going to find a midnight flight to get back to make sure that he can see them do 2 or 3 flips, smile, kiss, get back on the airplane, and go back to wherever he has to go because his daughters are important to him. That says a lot. And God honors that. So family balancing, and who asked that question? Yeah, family balancing. It's almost like a juggling act. You got to keep practicing. You got to keep working at it. You're not going to make it. You got to do it right all the time. But at least 90% out of that time, you need to do it right. Any other questions? Oh, how do you get your hair like that?
I thought you was in the raise your hand.
Who else? Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
What is it that you're most passionate about?
What we're most passionate about? We're doing what we're doing right now. We love to educate and to mentor other musicians because there are so many things that we had to experience that we shouldn't have experienced if someone would have come alongside us and shared some things with us. What you guys getting here today with Roger and Jim and them allowing us to come in and spend some time with you, most universities don't get this. You know what they'll get? They'll get a very famous person to come in and they'll do a show and then, you know, they'll get there and they'll have all their boys or whatever, and then they'll give you all this little jargon about, you know, how cool they are and what they are, but you won't really get the life experience that you're getting today. And so this is what we are passionate about. The music that God has given us, the love that He has given us for people, and the development of young minds. Because if we can deter you from hitting your head on that concrete wall that we have, as you can see, my forehead is really hard, like an elephant forehead or a rhino, because I banged my head on so many hard walls because I didn't listen, first of all, to some of my professors and to my parents and other folks. And then secondly, I didn't have some good mentors around me to help me. And later in my years, I did. And so that's what we are very passionate. We were talking about that on the way up here. We talk about a whole lot of stuff, which is crazy. Because most of the questions that you ask us, or most of the stuff that we were talking about it in the car, just in general conversation. Because God knew that you wanted to answer that question about family, about passion, about what we do on it. He knew that. So in our general conversation, not trying to prepare for this, we just casually talking, and all this stuff came up.
What we do never gets old. It never gets boring. Because we stay on the edge of what's God going to do next. You know what I mean? Sometimes I really feel like you can map things out so much until it takes the fun out of the surprise of what God can do with it. You get away with start with?
No, I just wasn't,
so, I mean, it's just like, it's just fun. It's just always fun. And meeting new people. And just encouraging you all that you can be doing this. You can be doing more than this. You know, just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. What else?
You have guitar teachers here, bass teachers here, drum teachers, choral teachers, and all that kind of stuff. You have those here. So what we're sharing with you is the other component that you may not get in your actual classroom. We can come here and we can show you, okay, do this run here, okay, this pentatonic scale, this Ionian scale, this Mixolydian scale works in this and all that. We can show you all those kind of things, but that's what you're getting anyway. That's what you're paying the education to get. What we wanted to give you this weekend was the things that we have experienced outside of the classroom that will help you. The conversation more so. So I know some of you are like, man, I walk across campus with my act and my guitar, I ain't gonna play nothing, man, these cats ain't did nothing. I guarantee you, what we share with you today, if you apply that to your life, your instrument, and your gift, it will take you places you never even dreamed of. So that's what we wanted to do today. We wanted to give you some experience. And in that experience, you get to see how good and great God is. Can you imagine a guy that's doing horticulture? Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, horticulture.
Horticulture. Figuring out how to get seeds in plants and make them grow and all that kind of stuff. A psychopathic gangster would be standing before you talking about God and music. Just think about that for a minute. Would you have ever thought about that? Putting those two people together to talk to you about music? Huh? Michael Gunga, would you have done that? No, not at all. Not at all. And that's the great thing about God, is that He takes the foolish things to confound the wise. If you're willing to be available. Somebody's going to leave here today. And this Sunday, y'all go to church here, y'all go to different churches. You got a chapel here, you got different churches, all those kind of things here. Different churches. Somebody's going to get a call tonight, Roger. It's like, hey man, such and such can't play tonight. Can you stand in for me? Can you help me out? Somebody's going to get that call tonight, I guarantee you. Somebody's going to get that call next week. Hey man, I want to work on this song. I know we put this schedule out, but we want to work on this song. And all the things that we've given you to yesterday and today about being prepared but not knowing what may happen is going to happen to you. You would get in class on Monday, it's like, oh, you know what? Today is a pop quiz. What? But had you been preparing the whole time, that pop quiz is not a pop for you. It's just putting down some answers. But if you hadn't been preparing, you start sweating and wringing your fingers. What am I going to do? So we want to give you some experience that will help you in your day-to-day life. Are you prepared? You ready, Colin? Man, Colin, you play bass, right? Yeah. Okay, so what you looking for? That's perfect. Oh. I got my water, so that.
I'm ready to bed too.
No.
That's why I need you to hold.
Oh, you know what? I can just go. Yeah, that's what I'm Sorry about that. I'm trying to get some speakification going here so we can play a little music here. All right, Colin, you play bass, right? All the bass players, raise your hand really high. Okay, guitar players, raise your hand really high. Okay, drummers, raise your hand really high. No drummer? Two drummers? One drummer? Two drummers? Okay. Vocalists, raise your hand really high. Okay. Songwriters, raise your hand really high. Okay. Choir directors, raise your hand really high. I'm a choir director. Come on, you got to raise your hand really high. Okay. All right. Now, as a choir director, what's your classification? Junior, senior, senior? Senior. See, y'all get ready to get out of here. Y'all been like hanging out together? Y'all like, here's my boy. What's your name?
Brandon.
Brandon, how you doing, bro? Good. What's your name?
Wes.
Sweet Ginger. Sweet Ginger right there. All right. Sweet Ginger right there. Got the red going on. So, with you guys getting ready to go out, like, it's in a couple of weeks, right? You graduate, you'll be finishing in like a couple of weeks. You going in May, right? You finishing yeah. All right. What is it? Both of y'all come here. Both of y'all come up here. Come on. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all seniors, man. Y'all should be running up front, man. Yeah! We ready to get out of this piece. What is probably, you stay on this side because they want to look at you. You stay on that side. All right, now spread out, go all the way down. Spread out. There you go. There you go. Bam, right, get that right there. What is one thing that you guys could share with these guys that you've experienced, good or bad, that you either want them to experience or you don't want them to experience? You got exactly 26 seconds. Go.
You need to be in a church. Even if you're a freshman, just call up a church, and if you don't have a car, they'll probably happily provide one, but you just need to be doing it. There's something to be said for just going to a church, even if you're not that great at guitar, just getting yourself out there and just learning by experience, possibly learning from people who know a lot more than you.
Bam, go.
Learn how to sight read, like play through the hymnal, just open it up and play it if you're a keyboard player. Learn how to read tabs if you're a guitar player. Just like print off tabs from the internet and like listen to the song once that you've never heard and just play the tab and see if you can learn it. And prepare yourself to just look at a piece of music and read it through without mistakes, or know how to simplify it and read it through without mistakes.
Man, that's great advice right there. I like that. Y'all too. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, now, the difference between me and Mr. Bernard Harris here is that I went to school for music education. I wanted to learn all the little small dots that's on that paper that sometimes start to blur around and things of that nature, and all the crescendos and all those kind of things and all those kind of things. Whereas he learned everything through experience. And so with that, we approach
Experiment.
Yeah, we approach things a little bit differently, even though it works. And so, where I would, just normally, I'm sorry. Simple scale for me. Now he would probably do it totally different, because he'd probably do it, do a scale.
What's the scale?
Now you see the difference in his sound and my sound? Now, I did the technical side. When he played it, you heard all the notes and heard the tone, the resonance of your and accents and all that. You want to know why? Because he's experienced the music, whereas I had the technical side of the music. When you join those together, when you have the technical side, learning the tab and learning the arrangement, all those kind of things, but then you can bring the experience into that with the feel and the sound, it makes you that much more usable in any situation. So that's why we work good together. So I can tell you all the scales and all those kind of things. He can tell you how to make them feel good. All right? That's why I jump on this side and he just stands and waves around on that side. All right, so let's play something.
All right, what y'all want to hear? Anything?
I can't imagine.
I can't. Oh, Lord. How did you say that? I can imagine this song I wrote. Mike, but we'll sing a little bit. I can't imagine not talking to you. You put a smile on my face. Love fills this place. 'Cause I can't imagine living without you. I've never met anyone quite like you, that treats me the way that you do. You were there for me when I was alone. You encouraged me to keep going on. 'Cause I can't imagine living without you. 'Cause I can't imagine not talking fills this place. 'Cause I can't imagine living without you. I can't imagine living without you. Singers never perform with Starburst anymore. I like to lost my candy. I can't lose Starburst.
And that song was written unto the Lord, but as you can hear, you can sing that to your significant other. And so his daughters and his wife, they've taken that song to every time he sings it, it's about them. But in actuality, it's unto the Lord. And so we go from that song, and so as a songwriter, we try to paint pictures that express the grace and the love of God through a pictorial, through what we say. All right? And so we go from that song, and we do a song that I do called Beautiful. And we're going to do the same thing, different tempo, different sound. Let me see if you get the picture. Here we go. that too. We go to the end. You're beautiful. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You're beautiful. Uh-oh. The same premise with that song is that I wrote this song to my wife, unto the Lord. Because the lyrics will say, you know, like the cry of a child to his mom for the very first time. That's probably one of the most beautiful things in the world for a parent to experience, the birth of their child. To hear a bird singing, those things are beautiful. Well, when I look at my wife and I look at my family, I think those things are beautiful. But I also think that God created all these things for me to experience. And that's what's beautiful. So as a songwriter, you have to be able to take what's in you and the experiences that you have to write and to create music that allows me to experience things that I normally wouldn't experience. Because you guys probably only 2 old beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. How many of y'all ever heard that commercial before? I know, don't, come on, Jim. Throw your hand up. You know.
I hate that commercial.
Because you can hear a commercial one time, and then it just be in your head all the rest of the day. Zoom, zoom, zoom. It's the Mazda commercial, all those kind of things. So music does what sometimes somebody actually teaching you can't do. And so you have the ability to take music and experience and do things. He probably could play something on here. Let's do 10,000 Reasons. Okay. G. Singing that. Because sometimes if I sing that, you put in your head, oh, that's not how Matt Redman sings it. That's not how Duck Dynasty sang it last night. But when he plays that on his instrument, you don't have to worry about what somebody's singing. You get to experience the actual emotion in the song. And sometimes that's more important than anything that I can say in a song is what am I playing. All these notes are very important. But one note sometimes makes a world of a difference than playing 7,000 notes. Especially if you play it wrong. I'm just going to play something, and he's going to take like 3 notes and just make it work with just 3 notes, okay? And we're going to show you how doing something simple can still make it. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, y'all ready? All right, okay, E. Got another key right now. All Last night, the guitar player, he said, you know, I found a couple of things that I could do and I could repeat. All right, now as a guitarist, especially if you're playing the ambient things, you have to be able to, okay, I got a melody going on, something that repeats. Because in every great song, there's a guitar line in there that you're learning the tab for, right? You're like, oh, here come my part. Everybody knows the song by either that bass line or that guitar note. So you have to be able to create that, because somebody in Hillsong created that line that you're playing. Somebody on the Chris Tomlin or Matt Redman or Skillet created that line. And so you want to be able to be the person that's creating some of those lines. Not too much, but just enough. So, all right? You got that going on right there. Let me hear you sing that. All right, stop right there.
Yeah. That's what y'all do.
Yeah. Now, if you can't say it, you can't play it. If you can't say it, we would never do a song that he can't really sing in his heart and a melody in his head. We won't do it, because it won't translate right. And you can try to attempt it, but when you can sing it, you'll be able to play all those kind of things, right? Because you can say it in here, it's registered, you can feel it, oh yeah, all that kind of stuff, right? Now he can take what he got and expand on that. If I'm playing rhythm, I'm not getting in the way. I may add something right there, but I'm not getting in the way. Because the vocalist or the other guitar player, they have something happening. So as a rhythm player, I got to hold it down right here. Don't get in the way. Now as he gets harder, gets stronger, I'll get stronger with him. Now, bass player. The rhythm is right here. You got to come in with the bass line, the fundamentals of the bass line, before you start doing anything extra. You can't immediately come in and just start going crazy. Give me some crazy right there. That's bass player. You're gonna switch out instruments here. As a bass player, you got to know the fundamentals of the song. Got to know what the player play before you start creating. Because if you come on the scene in the gig and you immediately start playing some wild, crazy stuff, you're not gonna be playing next week. Give me some crazy stuff. It's gonna be hard for him.
That's hard, huh? I can't play crazy.
Play the record. Now as a vocalist, I hear this groove that's laying behind me. The carpet is laid. So I don't have to turn around and start yelling at everybody, because I know everything is good. So now, I can settle in and put some lyrics to it. You ready? What you got? What lyrics you got? Where my songwriters at? You're a songwriter, raise your hand. Come on, you're a songwriter, raise your hand. Okay, all right. Give me about 5 words. Oh, thank you.
It's cliche, but how about just let your light shine?
Okay. Now, I got the groove going right here. Now, it would be crazy for me to just say, let your light shine! Let your light shine! Oh, oh. It'd be crazy, right? So I know the carpet that's behind me, it allows me to just get in there and groove that thing. Let your light shine. Let your light shine on me. Let your light shine.